Hi folks, this is the video solution of quiz number 3, the yellow copy. The hard copy has been posted on on Canvas. Okay, now uh, you're given a function, as you can see right here. Okay, and it's asking you for three things: amplitude, period, and the phase shift. Okay. Now the amplitude is always positive. So if you wrote this thing as y equal to 2 minus 1 times cosine of 1/3 of x plus 2/3, immediately the thing that's multiplied by cosine, the positive thing that's multiplied by cosine is right here. So a equal to 1. Now, as far as the period is concerned, remember the period, you need to have 2 pi over k, okay? 2 pi over k for sine and cosine, and by the way, secant and cosecant, it is 2 pi over k. The thing is that what's the value of k? Now, the k is the thing that's multiplied by 1/3. So k is equal to 1/3, okay? And this is going to be 2 pi divided by 1/3, and this is going to be 6 pi. So we found the period. Amplitude was 1. Period is 6 pi. This is the period. Now, the phase shift, if you, some people will make immediately a mistake here because they think that this is the phase shift. But I want to remind you that when we talked about phase shift, we wrote our equation like this: cosine of k times x minus b. Okay, so first you have to write this like that. So notice that there is a 1 and there is a cosine, and we factored the 1/3. We get x minus this is a plus, sorry, x plus 2. Okay, so notice that, yeah, the k is the same. Of course, I factored it out, all I did. But that immediately tells you that this minus b is the same as plus 2. So we have minus b equal to plus 2, and therefore b equal to minus 2. So the phase shift here is minus 2. Some people wrote down b equal to minus 2. Some people said that, okay, it is 2 to the left, and that was acceptable to me. I have no problem with it, but just be careful. It was very easy. We talked about this thing in class. It's very easy just to say that, yeah, whatever is a constant here is the phase shift. But that's not true, because you have to take the k out, and then you get the phase shift popping up. All right, let's go into this problem. It says, all right, this piece deals with the sine curve. You identify what the A, K, and B are. Now remember, first of all, the standard sine curve that we discussed when we introduced sine curve was something like that. Notice that this is mirrored. Okay, so let me ask you this. Some people immediately recognize what to do, but what I'm suggesting is the following. If I redrew this exactly like that, you don't have to do it. Some people do it in their head, but like this, and I ask you the same question. So this goes between 3 and minus 3, and these numbers are the same, minus 0.5, this is minus 2.5, etc. So if you look at the bottom curve, you see that, first of all, the amplitude is 3. It really doesn't matter. The amplitude of the top one and the bottom are the same. Okay? As far as the period is concerned, look at what the period is, either for the top one or the bottom one. Let's look at the bottom one. Is going to be, the period is 2, because the distance between this point and that point, where this whole thing is repeated after that to the right and to the left, is 2. Now, if period is 2, then we are saying that 2 pi over k is 2. Okay? And immediately we get k equal to pi. Immediately we get k equal to pi. So the period of that function is pi. All right. Now what about the phase shift? If you look at this diagram here, you look at this one, the phase shift is the distance that we have moved to the left. In other words, the coordinate of this, because the phase shift deals with taking the actual sine curve, which is here, and shifting it to the left, and the amount that this point goes to that point is the phase shift. So B is equal to minus 2.5. B is minus 2.5, K is pi, A is 3. But this stuff that we did here goes with that curve. In other words, I can write for that curve, I have 3 sine of pi times x minus 2.5. Okay, let me clean this up. Next line. Next line. So for the bottom curve, you have 3 sine of pi times x plus 2.5. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that this is not the curve that was given to me. The curve that was given to me was the mirror of this with respect to the x-axis, which means, I need a minus sign in front of that. Okay? So if you looked at, if you said, okay, based on the way you have written this thing, the A must be minus 3. Okay, I buy that. There's no problem. But minus 3 is not called the amplitude. Okay. However, if you just set A equal to minus 3 based on this, because notice that here it's not asking you about amplitude. Say, what is A? It's not saying that A is the amplitude, because if you say A is minus 3, minus 3 is not the amplitude. The absolute value of minus 3 is the amplitude. Okay, fine. So that takes care of this. Now we go down here. You have, let me write this thing for my own benefit, sine of 2x over cosine of 2x. One thing you know is that the period for tangent is pi over k, not 2 pi over k. I'm so surprised that so many people did 2 pi over k. Okay, good. So, well, you look at this, your k is 2, right there. So the period is going to be period is equal to pi over 2. Obviously, it's pi over 2. Okay, so now let's write down, let me write here, y equal to sine of x, sine of 2x over cos 2x, or simply tangent of 2x, no problem. Okay, good. So in the book, remember, we agreed that for cosmetic reason, the book draws this thing between between negative of half the period and positive half the period. Or let me put it this way: you don't have to memorize these things. Just look at the cosine of 2x. Where do I have problem with cosine of 2x? It's when 2x is pi over 2. That means x is pi over 4. So if this is x, I have a problem, serious problem with pi over 4 and minus pi over 4. Right there. Okay? Incidentally, the tangent, you have to fit the tangent function in here, so it's going to go like that. Right there. And that's it. So the key thing here is to make sure that the asymptotes are exactly marked at pi over 4 and minus pi over 4. And what is the tangent curve? Tangent 2x. Now, some people put the stuff in the calculator and saw something like that and immediately remember that, oh, in the book, this was pi over, when we discussed tangent, this was pi over 2, this was minus pi over 2. You're right, but that was tangent of x. It was not tangent of 2x. All right, folks, so study well for the midterm. The questions are not going to be much different from the quiz problems. Okay? Not much different from the quiz problem.